Kittens here with my friends from Guitarcenter checking out the RANE ONE MKII. Over the years, having my first mixer be a RANE and also my current at-home mixer being the RANE 70, I've come to really need and love certain features of RANE products, and this controller is no different. There's so many amazing features that you can only really get on here that you can't get on any mixer or other controller, which is exciting because you can get really creative. Today, we're going to be going over a few of my favorite features on the RANE ONE MKII, including the stem roll-in effects, the acapella and instrumental isolation buttons, and the stem level EQ. For a more in-depth tutorial on the RANE ONE MKII's features, you can check out our linked demo video in the description. So first, we're going to jump into the stem roll-in effects. Now, these are really cool because you've got specific pads that control every different stem. So your vocals, your melody, your bass, and your drums. And now we can actually isolate which one of those stems we want to hear and which we want to apply a roll feature to or different effects to. So first, what I'm going to do is actually take the roll effect and apply it strictly to the vocal. So that way the rest of the song is unaffected, but I'm able to apply a roll to the vocal, which is really cool. So there's a couple different ways you can actually use this in your set. So one is to be a little bit more creative. You want to take a section and play around with it and manipulate it and kind of live remix, which is really fun. Or you can actually use this when you are transitioning. So maybe you're going from one song that's a little bit more down tempo to something else that's a lot more high energy. And the BPMs match, but the vibe doesn't match necessarily. So what you can do is to kind of pick that up and give it a little bit more of a build and tension is to start rolling a certain part of that stem. So maybe it's your drums, maybe it's your melody, whatever stands out. And then you start cutting that roll down and down and down. And it's giving you this nice build to transition into something that's a little bit more high energy. Now I'm going to actually use the bass and the drums to create more of a build, and I'm going to roll those sections only. And another cool thing you can do is isolate different stems. So you can cut the vocal out completely and just be going with the drums and the bass or your melody alone, whatever. You can get really, really creative with it, which I personally love. So this is going to be a build with just the drums and the bass. What makes this really fun is because you can customize so many things. Not only can you isolate and roll certain elements and certain stems of the songs, but then you can also apply all the other effects on the controller to those specific stems, which is so fun. And just to close out that transition, I actually applied an echo and a high pass filter to the specific stems that I was already rolling. Another feature I want to talk about today is the acapella and instrumental isolation buttons. This is something so necessary that hasn't been on any piece of equipment before, and it makes DJing so much easier, and it makes it possible for you to truly remix live and have so many more options to not only be creative, but ensure you have a really nice, clean mix. So because these buttons are so easy access on each of the decks, you can immediately cut out a vocal completely and keep the rest of the instrumental going, or just have an acapella running and layer that over something else, take a portion of it to loop roll. You can do so much, and it's just right there. a really simple way to transition from one song into another that maybe is a different vibe. Maybe it's in a different key completely that might clash a little bit, where you want to be able to easily just cut out all the instrumental and have one element of that song still going. So having that acapella being able to run over a different song that's maybe a higher energy or a different key or some other thing that maybe would sound too muddy with other stuff on it. Easy access. They are right next to each deck on either side. You can just pop the acapella button on and you're good to go. And the last feature I want to talk about today is the stem level EQ. Now with that, you can actually change your EQ knobs to not just control the different frequencies, but to control different stems. So if you take a look where the EQ knobs are, you're going to see that the top knob actually controls your highs and your vocals. The mid one controls the mid-range and your melody, and the bottom one controls your low range and your drums. So to turn this option on, you have to hit Shift and then your Q button. That's going to activate the stem level right there. And that's going to remain on until you take it off. So be aware of that when you're in the middle of a mix, just so you know what you're getting into and what you're actually controlling. So once that's on, you're able to do something really unique in that you're not just cutting out or turning on and isolating stems, you're controlling the gain of those stems. So if you want to slowly bring in a vocal, or you want to slowly bring in drums, or slowly cut out a melody while you're mixing, you have the ability to do that. And it also really helps too. Maybe you got a track that's not mixed or mastered really well, and certain elements of it are just not as beefy as they need to be. You can crank them up. So now I'm going to show you just what you can expect when using the stem level EQ knobs. So as you can see, you can get really granular with how you control each of these stem groups. Instead of having to cut them out completely and isolate them, you can slowly start introducing or slowly start pulling away different sounds. So this is how you might use stem level when mixing. When transitioning, sometimes you don't want to just fully be really choppy and cutting out certain stems because it can feel a little disorienting or maybe just not be the vibe you're going for. And you want to slowly switch over into maybe a different drum pattern or a different kind of rhythm or a different kind of bass sound, something like that. And you just want to be able to gracefully do that sometimes. And by using the stem level EQ, instead of just ripping out the drums completely, you can slowly start just blending them together and having a much more seamless mix. Really enjoyed my time getting to know the RANE ONE MKII. I can totally see this being something that's really versatile no matter what level of DJ you are. The amount of effects and ways you can control everything is really, really unique and astounding. From beginners all the way to pro level DJs, you have stuff that makes it easier to have a nice, clean, seamless mix, to have all your little emergency tools on hand, and also to get super, super creative, which I think is so awesome because the options are truly endless and it's so much fun. I feel like I'm gonna be playing with this for a really long time and still getting to know different things that I can do with it. If you want to learn more about the RANE ONE MKII, go to guitarcenter.com, contact one of their expert gear advisors, or check it out yourself at your local GC.